This is Sincere of Teacher Sincere's channel, and welcome once again. Okay, I'm back again, and after it's been hectic. Things have been really hectic. Last week, less than a week ago, I got eye surgery again on my left eye. I got cataract surgery, and I talked about it in the video back 2 years ago. And I was going to get it done last year because my eye doctor recommended that I do, but I went ahead and but I decided to put it off another year. So I just got it last Wednesday. So I can see okay, but of course my eye is still in the healing process. I got it on my right eye 2 years ago, and then I waited and got it on my left eye on Wednesday. And the process this time was easier than before. It seemed like it was shorter, whereas before it seemed like it was about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. This time it looked like it was about 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm glad I got that out of the way, and I have to take drops for a month. These medicated drops, along with I can take, I have dry eyes, so I can take the, I'll be taking the dry eye, or I am taking the dry eye using the eye drops. So yeah, but that's what's been going on with me. So things have been pretty hectic with working, and then with eye surgery, and just, you know, life in general. And so much is going on right now, you know, nationally, internationally. So yeah, it's been something else. But I have been able to get some time in reading. And today, not too long ago, I just finished reading a book. I finished reading George S. Schuyler's Black No More. This is the second book of his that I read this year. I read Black Empire, and both of them were satisfying. Black Empire was funny, but this was even funnier. This was satire, whereas Black Empire was what we call Afrofuturism. And George S. Schuyler was a African-American writer that was, in this book it says that he was part of the Harlem Renaissance, but on some websites online it doesn't mention that he was a part of it. But I'm going to go ahead and just say that he was a part of the Harlem Renaissance, but he was not as well known as, say, somebody like Richard Wright or Zora Neale Hurston or Ralph Ellison, or I would even go on to say, though he was not part of the Harlem Renaissance, James Baldwin. But his books are very worth reading. He was way ahead of his time. Okay, Black No More was published in 1931. Black Empire was published as a serial in starting in 1936. This one might have been a serial, but I forgot to look it up. But this was great. It was really, it was something else, like I said, about Black Empire. And so basically what it is about is the story starts off with a young black man named Max Disher, and he's out with a friend. His friend, they call him Bonnie. They're out at a nightclub, and he sees this beautiful white girl that looks like, you know, she looks like somebody out of a Titian painting. Okay, she has the auburn hair, so the reddish auburn hair. She's beautiful. She's beautiful, and he's attracted to her, and he decides to ask her to dance with him. This is in New York City, and sometimes the white people would come to these black clubs and stuff during the time of the Jim Crow South. This is sort of what they say, slum it. Okay, so she's there obviously with her group slumming it, and Max decides he's going to approach her and ask her to dance, when she tells him, I don't dance with the N-word. Okay, so he's heartbroken, but he can't get her out of his mind. And so, you know, it just starts this whole self-hatred sort of episode. And as time goes on, this guy shows up in the city named Dr. Junius Crookman. And Dr. Crookman is like a scholar. He has studied in Europe. He's black, and he's come back home, and he has come up, he is basically a scientist, and he's come up with a way to turn black people white. And so that's what he starts doing. And Max decides to go to him along with millions of other black people. They go to Dr. Junius Crookman's clinic to get treatment so that they don't have to be black anymore. And that don't have to experience racism, white supremacy, because they're white people, okay? And this has some interesting twists and turns, an array of characters. It's something else, like I said. So I haven't rated it yet on Goodreads, but I will probably give it 5 stars. It was very different. It was unique. It was really humorous at times. It was something else. It had he really knew how to turn a phrase. And I wrote down a number of quotes in my quote book, and what I want to just mention, because I can't see sort of well sometimes, particularly up close. I can see better far off, so it's a little blurry, particularly with my glasses. I'm going to have to get some new glasses, so it's a little bit blurry. But I was really just, it was so funny. Some of the names that he came up with, some characters in the book: Dr. Shakespeare Agamemnon Beard. And there was another one, Dr. Napoleon Wellington Jackson, okay? And it was really hilarious, some of the things he said. I'm not going to try to attempt to read in my book some of the quotes. But yeah, and there was a company called the Morania Broadcasting Company, okay? So, I mean, he was really making fun of, the black self-hatred, the racist, the white racist in the country. It's something else. You have to read it for yourself, okay? Because I don't want to give out too much more information, but it is quite, it makes you laugh. It really makes you laugh, and it's just still so relevant for today. We still have problems with racism in the United States, but it can be very covert depending on where you live, and racism is something that's going to always be there. It's not something that's going to go away, because human beings cling to their nonsense a lot of times, and it's just something that we have to learn to to live through and to laugh at. And so, but yeah, I highly recommend George Schuyler's Black No More, his other books, and he was George Schuyler was he was a black conservative. He started out as a socialist, and his whole outlook changed. He became a black conservative, and even though he was a conservative, he spoke out against the problems with racism in the United States. So yeah, I would recommend his books. They're in Penguin Classics, these 2 that I've read. This is a library copy, but yeah, George Schuyler, Black No More, is very much worth reading. And even though it was written years ago, over 80 years ago, still very relevant today with what goes on with humans. Humans, a lot of times, something comes up with us and it never changes. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to end with that about Black No More. So now that I'm finished with Black No More, I have another library book. I showed it the last time. This one is by a Algerian writer. Her original name was Fatima Zahra Imalaran, I guess you would say Imalaran, and she went under the name of Assia Djebar or Djebar, and the book is called Children of the New World, okay? And it's set during the Algerian War of Independence, which was from 1954, I believe, until 1962. It ended shortly before I was born, and so I have been wanting to read this book for a while, even though I plan to read, I keep saying in every video that I plan to read for the rest of the year, mainly African-American authors and Palestinian authors. I've read one Palestinian author for this year, but I have others that I have lined up, books that are my own copies. But I decided I want to read this one first because, as I said in my other video, I have a fascination with Algeria, and I'm interested in the Algerian War of Independence. I've been a big fan of Algerian rhyme music for years, and also years ago I saw the old movie The Battle of Algiers, about the Algerian War of Independence, and I was just fascinated by it. But yeah, this is a novel of, it says here, a novel of the Algerian War of Independence. I'm not sure if I can read the back of it, but it focuses on a big group of different characters. The chapters are named after different characters, and they are Algerian people who live in a village, in a town or small town or village in Algeria during the Algerian War of Independence. The Algerians fought one of the most brutal wars of independence in Africa, on the African continent. And so, and it lasted, like I said, it was almost 10 years. Okay. And, at the end, the war came to an end, just a few weeks, I think, before I was born. So, in 1962. So I'm very much looking forward to reading her book. She was a feminist. She was very much against, she was anti-colonial and also anti-patriarchal, Assia Djebar. And that was her pen name. So I'm looking forward very much. I'm going to have to rush with this one. It's not very long, but it's not from the public library here in my town. So I'm going to have to try to speed it up with this one to get started on it tonight because it goes to another library in the state. So briefly, I just want to mention a few other things. I'm very close to finishing up Edith Wharton's classic, The Age of Innocence. This is the movie cover. The movie was made back in the 90s. Okay, it's a classic. She got the not Nobel, but the Pulitzer Prize, I believe, or was it Nobel? Yeah, Pulitzer Prize in 1921. So it's an American classic. Okay. I'm also haven't made much headway, but I am enjoying it. Eusebius's The Church History, or the proper name of it is called The Ecclesiastical History. Eusebius was born in Palestine, and he wrote many centuries ago about the early church after Christ ascended back, went back to heaven, and the persecutions of the early church. Okay, he lived during that time. Eusebius, he's sort of like what Herodotus was for secular ancient history. He was like the Herodotus of ancient church history. Okay. And I also want to mention too, there was a famous Kenyan writer that died back in May. I think on May 28th. His name was Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o. Okay, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. Okay. I read one of his books. He died back in May. He was award-winning African writer, considered one of the great modern African writers. I have his book here. I read this book a few years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, called The River Between. I really enjoyed it. I did not read this copy. I read the library copy. My public library actually has a few volumes of some of his books. So I got it. I wasn't aware that I had this in storage until recently. So I read The River Between and I really enjoyed it, and I said I want to read more of his books. I haven't gotten around to reading it, but he died and he was the same age as my mom back a few weeks ago. And I found out a very interesting fact. I had no idea. I heard that he had died maybe a week after he passed away, that he actually died here in my state, here in Georgia. He died in a small city or a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, called Beaufort, which is probably about an hour away from where I live. So I was really surprised he died here in my state, not too far from where I live. Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o was wrote about anti-colonialism. He had spent time in prison. So yeah, I had planned when I really liked the River Between. I can't remember how many stars I gave it on Goodreads, but I know I gave it at least 4 stars. And so I had planned, I said I want to read more of his books. In fact, I did read one of his plays because he was a playwright, and I always forget this. I read his play, The Black Hermit, and I enjoyed it. So Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o was not only a writer, academic, well, he was also a playwright. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed his work, and I recommend his work as well. And then I also want to mention, getting back to Algerian writers, I don't know all what I have. I have so many books, I don't even know personally what I have. And I'm all over here reading on Kindle, going to the library. And so I do like a lot of book lovers do. We buy books. Now, I don't buy books like I used to. I used to just buy them and just, we just get a good feeling. Bibliophiles just get a good feeling from having books around. We just like to have the books around, okay? So I don't always know what I have because I have some things in storage. I have things here in the house. It's hidden away. I don't even know. But this is a book I have here, a journal written by an Algerian writer named Mouloud. Feraoun, I'm not sure am I saying his name right, but he kept the journal of the Algerian War of Independence. He kept the journal from 1955 until 1962, and he was actually executed by the French. I think by the French. Not think by the French, but by the French. Maybe just a few days before I was born. Okay, so I have, this is actually my copy of his journal. Here's a picture of him. He was an educator. Yeah, so this was his journal. So this is actually my copy. Some of the books I was showing here, like everything here except for Children of the New World and Black No More. Everything else, they are all my copies of my books and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, so that's about it. So I'm going to end here. Okay, so this is what my little offerings I had to share with you this time. Okay, and so I'm back, and once I finished up reading, and I hope I'm going to try to stay focused as much as I can, and everything. I'm going to have to get new glasses. Because I've noticed already that I was driving the other day. My vision is still good with these glasses. I'm pretty good off, but I was told that I would have some problems with things close up. If I take my glasses off, I can see things real good back off like this. But if but these glasses, I've had them now for 2 years with the eye surgery. My prescription is going to have to be adjusted. So I will be heading to my eye doctor Wednesday on my off day. Okay, so but yeah, so I'm going to end here. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. So this is Sincere. Until next time.